Hello and welcome to Copper Bulletins. Hi Derek.
Hi, Mark.
If you're new here, welcome. We're here to chat about the warning, and if you're not new, welcome back. Good to see you guys again. Yeah, let's have a chat about what's been going on recently. So Derek, it's been a couple of weeks,
It has been, yes.
and things seem to be starting to sort of heat up, don't they?
Yeah, you kind of get that feeling that things are beginning to. It's now gone from being soon to being very
Don't
soon.
we don't use that word? That's a cursed word. We can't use the word soon. It's become like a curse word
Yeah.
in the warning fandom, and I think the band have realised this and they're delighted in using it
Yes,
to taunt us
yes,
all.
yes. They like telling us things are coming soon. Things are happening soon.
But let's go. I mean, if we go back a couple of weeks, we had that surprise little sort of piano concert from Pow.
From Pow,
Oh, Pow,
yeah,
right, yeah,
which
which was
was
great.
very good.
It was
Very nice.
very very atmospheric. I'm liking the
It
whole.
was.
I'm liking goth Pow. It was pretty cool.
She makes a good goth.
Honestly, the way she started, because it was all bathed in the red light, and she was just sort of playing those piano chords. I was like, "What's going on here? Is she going to start telling ghost stories or something?" She should have had some candles there. I felt like she should have had an organ.
Yes, yes. An organ would have really just fitted in very nicely.
But then she just went into straight into Black Holes, which is one of my favourite songs.
One of my favourites as well.
I think it's a lot of people's in there quite high up because it's one of those that's got some very relatable lyrics.
Yes. And it's one that just doesn't fail to give you the feels.
No. I mean, because there's a lot of their songs that I love, but if I'm honest, if I talk about lyrics, like, I love the lyrics, but there's not a lot in there that I can say is relatable with regards to murdering someone and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, especially Queen of the Murder scene. It's
Yeah,
yeah. Um
but black holes. There's a lot of stuff that you can interpret and take on a more personal level.
yeah.
But that was great. And
It
then
was fantastic.
real treat in getting Stalker, because obviously we've heard
Yes.
I've only ever heard Danny sing Stalker,
Yes.
and I've never heard it on piano either.
I know it's nice when you get to hear a song with a different arrangement.
Yeah, really interesting. I felt more than anything else. I felt that sort of almost sounded like a Lloyd Webber musical song when arranged on the piano like that, in a good way, not in a bad way.
Yeah. I know what you mean, yeah, totally. Yeah, it has got that kind of vibe to it. Definitely.
And did we get it was a while ago, it was a couple of weeks now. Did we get the end as well at the end? Pretty sure we did.
I think we did. I
It
can't
would have
remember.
made sense.
Yeah.
But I loved that, and I was like, I would love to hear the whole album done that way.
That would be, yeah, that would be a thing, wouldn't it? Something different.
Release the power cut. Although I don't, I think she did say it probably wouldn't happen because she'd have to relearn everything, and obviously, they've got a lot more pressing stuff to be moving on to.
Yes, aye, they've got a lot to be getting on with at the moment.
But it would be nice.
Um,
Then this last week, in fact, yesterday, as of recording this, Danny Day, we had another of Danny's surprise midnight concerts
it's,
where she was showing off that new Fender Acoustasonic.
oh, that makes some beautiful sounds. That is a lovely axe.
Well, she said as well, considering it's only got a fairly thin, like a slimline body, it's got a really big sound. So I guess that comes down
Yeah,
to
it's
construction and materials.
it has, and she seemed to uh, have great fun playing it as well.
Yes, and she gave her the Paramore song,
Yes,
which was again really good. And again, it's not an easy one to sing that. And you do even wonder maybe if if Danny from 2 years ago could have actually pulled it off as well as she did. And that's
Well,
just purely going on how much her vocals seem to have come on, especially in the last year, I think.
but
They were,
yeah, definitely there's been a big improvement in the
because
last
they were,
year.
yeah,
I mean,
because
she
they were,
was amazing. I'm not saying that she wasn't
no, not
amazing.
at all.
But it has just gone up that
Yeah, she seems to have found
next
another level, I think.
another level.
Practice, hard work, bit
Well,
more
that's it.
confidence.
They've had time on their hands to do a lot of practicing and um, just improving their overall craft.
I've got to admit, I've forgotten what the Nothing But Thieves song was called. But she didn't quite get all the way through it, did she? She got most of the way through it. Gave it a
She's
good
got
go.
most of it. Um,
But I do
but
really
yeah,
love those little snippets.
I know it's great getting these little snippets, and it's something different, and whether they're doing covers or doing one of their own songs, it's nice when you can hear Pow sing something that Danny normally sings, and you can do a bit of comparison. I mean, Pow doesn't have the vocal range of Danny, but she does have an amazing voice.
Yeah, I always feel
I,
Pal's voice is a bit richer in terms of to get techie and sort of lower level harmonics and stuff like that.
and she can actually sometimes get away with it not having the range
Nah.
and still get do a really smashing performance.
It's sometimes it's weird to me. Well, not so weird, but the way Pal's voice is almost it's like a hammer. The way she can just like hurl vowels out. The projection she's got is incredible.
She has.
And that vibrato as well when it kicks in.
Oh, yeah. She's got a really powerful
Yeah.
voice. Um, and it's a beautiful voice as well. I
But
mean,
yeah, I do really love the way she can just hurl hurl a line out, and it's like a cannonball.
I love Danny's vocals. I mean, I've always said that,
Yeah.
I love Danny's vocals, but there is just something about Pow's voice.
Okay.
Just
It's okay to have a favorite. It's all right.
it just I don't know. There's just something about it. I think it is, because she has got that projection.
Yeah.
She can throw out the vocals.
It's more of a like a theatrical kind of voice. If you were to talk, say, West End, Broadway,
Yeah,
it wouldn't be out of place there.
not at all.
And it's really, and that means it works really well as a contrast with Danny's voice when they hit the harmonies.
But yeah, exactly. That's it. Yeah, the harmonies are just beautiful. And then when you've got the three of them as well, you've got Ali joining in the harmonies. It is something special.
I mean, we'll bust through the rest of the recent harmonies because I know we're going to do something slightly different for the rest of the podcast. Just as a heads up for everyone, it's in the title and stuff like that, but just, we felt it was appropriate. But just brushing up through the news. Yes, well, we've had Danny's TikTok debut.
Yes.
Which is very cryptic, which is, I wouldn't expect anything less from Danny, quite frankly.
Well, exactly. Wouldn't expect anything less.
With a discreet, what am I playing? And we don't know. Which has led most people to assume that little riff on TikTok is maybe something off the new album.
Off the new album, yes. Whether it is or not, we'll need to wait and see.
I mean, there's not a lot to it. Yeah, so that TikTok wasn't really giving a lot away. But you know what the Warning fan base is like. The slightest crumb of anything, and it's like
anything, and they go berserk.
It's like chucking a chicken McNugget into a piranha tank. They'll be on that like a shot, and will devour it in seconds. But in addition to that, we've also had on Patreon, we've had like a sneaky peek as well. Again, it's about 5 seconds.
We did get a little sneaky peek.
Obviously, what happens in Patreon stays in Patreon. Okay, so it just so happened that not long after recording this, they actually made the clip public. So I'll just drop it in here and have a listen. Like I say, we were excited for this album, as it were, but now that's just okay. Come on.
Yeah, now frenzy going on.
Yeah, but as well, if they're starting to just like drop little crumbs like that, that makes you think something must be close.
Yes,
Maybe by the end of this month.
We're getting very, very close to something happening.
It feels like the start of the PR campaign. And in fairness, obviously, Lava have been very focused on Greta Van Fleet.
Yes, they have. And if the Warning get anything like what Greta Van Fleet have been getting,
even a fraction.
It
does look like maybe that
get my teeth in. Greta Van Fleet.
Greta Van Fleet. It does look like maybe that is kind of coming to the end of that sort of promotional window, though, because like their album's out now.
It's out, and
it's doing well. It's got the good reviews. They've been on all the talk shows. So obviously there does come a point where you go, okay, let's let that run for a bit now. We don't need to.
That's the thing. If the Warning would do it themselves, they could have maybe dropped it.
Yeah, but it feels like
But obviously, Lava have got to make sure they don't cramp one of their bands by releasing another band's album on top of it.
Exactly. You don't want to cannibalize your market.
Yeah.
But as well, I noticed on Danny Day Instagram post, she was looking extremely glam, which makes me think it's photo shoots or something.
Maybe she's just got glam for Danny Day.
It could be, but it felt like it was like maybe there's something going on.
But
and there seems to have been a lot.
Pow glam's up, but Danny not so much though for that. Pow will glam up for a Pow day, but Danny tends to be a little more
cash.
A lot more casual, a lot more understated.
But we know they've been really busy because, like I say, they're quite getting into the Twitch thing. But there was the other week, and they didn't hit Twitch for a whole week, which tells me they were really busy that week. They were doing stuff. I don't know what kind of stuff, but there was stuff going on.
Well, even last week's Danny Pow and Ali Days, there wasn't really much.
And obviously, poor Ali just had a wisdom teeth out.
Yeah.
Which that's going to knock you for 6.
I know, because I've still got my wisdom teeth, but
I don't think I've got them. I genuinely don't know, but I've never had it was always this big thing, especially, when you were a teenager, all these horror stories about your wisdom teeth. So you're terrified of it happening. And as far as I'm aware, I've either not got them or they've not caused me a problem.
They've probably not caused you a problem. Because mine are still there, but they just there's no room in my mouth for them, basically.
Yeah.
So the only thing you've got to watch is that they don't start decaying in your skull, basically.
Okay, well, there's another fear that I didn't know I needed to have. Thanks for that. But yeah, I'm assuming Ali's probably on the mend because it's been a couple of weeks, hasn't it now? But yeah, it's not a pleasant thing to go through.
No, it's definitely not. I mean, I'm actually due to get one of mine out.
Well, they did an interview, didn't they, on Facebook the other week?
And I'm not looking forward to it in the slightest.
No, I wouldn't. No, you'll be fine. But yeah, they did an interview the other week, and I can't remember who it was. It was on Facebook, and Ale was understandably quite subdued in that. But
Yes.
fair play to her for actually bothering to turn up, because she could. I'm sure she'd have been fine to skip it, given being under the weather and recovering.
Yes.
But she's a trooper, as they
She's a
all are.
trooper. Yeah, they're all troopers. I mean, it's incredible how many times has Danny been ill and still
Yeah.
hit the stage and given it on 110%.
No, exactly. They always manage to sort of find a way around those kind of issues
Yes,
and put on a great show.
they
And we
certainly
had a
do.
little. I think Danny did a bit of extra Twitch streaming this week because she's just trying to bump herself up to affiliate level and catch up with the other two.
Yes, she doesn't want to get left behind, I don't think.
No.
That little bit of competitive sister.
Yeah, definitely. But
Can't,
because they just did Power just did just chatting stream the other day, didn't she?
yeah, that's right. It was just a chat stream on Twitch she did.
And
Unfortunately, I've not seen that one yet.
no, it's like you said. Well, like I said before, it's difficult for us too because
Yeah.
UK time. These were often like dropping at like 1-2 a.m.
Yes, which is
Past me, not a problem, but my ability to pull all nighters is not what it used to be.
I mean, it depends. If I'm working a back shift, then if I come home, I've got a chance. I'll still be up to watch it. But if I've
Yeah,
got an early shift, no chance.
no, not happening. And as well, I mean, I've had my vaccine this week, and I've not had any side effects or anything like that. I've just been kind of tired, a bit
But I'm
sleepy.
still waiting on my letter for my second one. My mum and dad have had their second. Um, they got theirs last week.
But yeah,
Um,
it didn't make me feel ill or anything. I just made me kind of sleepy for a while, for a few days. Again, so not great for staying up late for random
no, not
incidents on Instagram or Twitch.
no, it certainly won't help.
And later today, which obviously will have passed by the time I've edited this because I'm lazy. And we've got another of Powell's listening parties on Discord,
Yes, there is Tim for Pow Day today.
where everyone submits songs, so you get a really eclectic mix of tracks. I did notice she did post a little request, try and keep them under 6 minutes. And I didn't realize at first the song I'd put in was like 6:47 or something. So I changed it. But somebody's put like a 16-minute Dream Theater song in there, which I don't think is really in the spirit of things.
No. At least nobody's dropped in the entire Led Zeppelin
No,
catalogue this
not like
time.
last time. But 16-minute Dream Theater song, ain't nobody got time for that. That's too much.
Yeah, I mean
But
that's the thing. Especially when you want to give everybody a chance
fair
to
shot, exactly.
a fair shot. So, I mean, 6 minutes seems like a
Yeah,
fair.
don't be putting Freebird in there.
No.
It's unfair. Are you staying up for that one?
I'm going to attempt to see if I can make it that one.
It's not like you don't drink enough coffee.
I don't know what you're talking about, Mark.
You've got a massive thing of coffee in you. Actually, you've only got a little one. Either that, or you've turned into a giant, and that's one of those liter ones.
No, it's just one. It's just one of the little ones.
Just got a wee one today.
I was going, and I thought I better not because I might get ribbed for having a litre of coffee.
Not a sponsor.
Nope.
So, what we wanted to talk about today, ironically, something that Mikey really wanted to talk about, but he's not here this week. But we'll bring you back in for it later.
Yes.
But just given the kind of year it's been, which has been unprecedented, unlike
Very much
anything
so.
any of us will ever thought we'd experience. And yeah, he wanted to chat just not so much about the band, but maybe a little bit about the fan base and the communities around it, but just on the subject of mental health, which is I think at the forefront of many people's thoughts at the moment.
I mean, I suppose you could you look at Queen of the Murder scene, and there might be some mental health issues going on with
Just a bit. Frankly, hopefully, no one's going through anything quite that
quite like
extreme.
that. Yes. Um, so
But no,
it does kind of tie in.
yeah, but it has been a difficult time just in general
It has been, definitely. I mean, it has been a
with
completely unprecedented year.
with
Uh,
the isolation a lot of people probably have been feeling, and or just a lot more stress around and a lot of uncertainty around things like work, for example.
exactly. Yeah, there's been so many people that have lost their jobs or still don't know whether their job will survive. Or
Yeah,
it's definitely a worrying time, a stressful time for a lot of people. And
yeah,
the impacts of shielding and self-isolation and losing loved ones.
no, exactly, yeah, well, and especially in such difficult circumstances as well.
Yes. People, you can't go to hospitals to see your loved ones, and yeah, it's not good. It's difficult arranging funerals and that as well, and having the people there that you would want to have there. It all adds up.
No, absolutely. And again, just to bring it back around, which I know for me personally, and I think for a lot of people as well, the warning maybe came around at a good time for me. I actually didn't. I only discovered them after being made redundant from a job, which meant I had a lot of time to spend on YouTube. um, and it was something that clicked with me from a musical level. But then building from that, say, just getting to be involved initially through Patreon, but just through the community that's around the group. That's been a big part of sort of my support sort of structure
Sure.
through the last
Yes.
year.
And you're not the first person I've heard say
No,
that as well. There's quite a lot of the community have came across the band when they hit a rough patch
yeah,
for whatever reason, whether it was unemployment, health issues, um, family issues, whatever. That they came across the warning, and that they've said that being part of the community and this the love that they give us have for their fans, and the love and support of the community is what's kept them going and kept them alive, basically.
and I think that a lot of that. I think a lot of um, the way the community that's around the band has kind of evolved and developed probably is very much in the image of sort of the way the band themselves project themselves, how they their image in terms of how they treat people, how they interact and connect with the fans. I guess leading by example almost. It's
Yes, yes, totally. I mean, yeah, and just the whole journey for them, and how the fan base has sort of started and grown. It's something that a lot of bands don't have.
no,
Um, it is that little bit different, a little bit special, and I think that is, it was very much like a big family.
and
Um,
they themselves have touched on issues like this as well.
yes,
I think the biggest example for me has to be When I'm Alone,
yeah,
which if you didn't know, I mean I know you know, but if you didn't know, Danny wrote that while she was at Berkeley and feeling homesick, and that's when that came out. So that's probably her most personal song, I'd have thought.
yes. Yeah, definitely that is probably her most personal song, and a
and
song
very
that
relatable.
I was just about to say that exact thing that I'm sure a lot of people can relate to
Yeah. I
loneliness
mentioned,
and feeling
yeah,
homesick and
yeah, and she nails it, and she was what, 14 when she 13 when she wrote that.
14, I think.
I think, yeah, be about that. So it was just like, incredibly sort of mature songwriting for that age, and to really sort of hit the nail on the head for those kind of feelings. You know, and for like people of all ages to be able to sort of like listen to it and go, yeah,
Yeah.
that pretty much, yeah, that's what it's like.
Yeah, that's exactly that's what it's like. I can relate to that. Um, and I mean, also from the subject of mental health, it's a subject that's close to my own heart that I've
Well, yeah, I know you've obviously you've talked about this on the Discord server at times.
yes, I have I've just about been on the verge of a nervous breakdown, just due to circumstances, life, and um, working, trying to keep going, working's
Well, say
80, 90, 100
life
hour
is
weeks.
life is stressful enough to deal with it in normal circumstances,
Yes.
but with this whole other layer of crap to deal with over the last
It's
year,
just,
it
yeah,
ramps it up a whole other level.
it has ramped up a whole lot of level, and it's, I make, I don't hide the fact that I've been on medication for years for anxiety and depression. And I consider myself lucky because I can still function.
Yeah,
I can
and
still
also,
get out my bed. I can still go to work.
well, it's not a dirty word anymore. It's not something that people.
It's
The stigma
unfortunately,
around
yes,
that is very much less than what it used to be.
it can be a very debilitating condition for
And
people.
that actually, as well, I guess for us both, a lot to be grateful for in the fact of having access to those kind of medications.
Yes,
Because
definitely.
I know what a struggle it can be, for example, in the US, to get access to that
To
kind of stuff
yeah,
and to have to pay for it.
and I mean that's where north of the border we're extremely lucky
Well, yeah,
because we
you got
don't
free. All your prescriptions are free, aren't they?
all prescriptions are free
Yeah,
up here.
with paying £9, which is
Yeah,
still, very very manageable compared
well,
to what,
yes.
say, for example, like again, what you have to try and stump up in the US.
In likes of America, yeah, exactly. It can be easy. Um,
I'll be, from my perspective, I've never been prescribed medication for anything, but at the same time, it's probably because most of the time, if I'm feeling ill, physically or mentally, I just tend to just like sit at home and just hope that I don't die. I don't like going to the doctor, despite the fact that I have access to a doctor for free through my taxes.
I think is well that that's a very male,
Yes, it is.
generally speaking, a male
Probably quite a
approach.
British kind of attitude as well, I
A
think.
lot of men won't go to the doctor about
No.
things. They won't talk about things, and that's something that we need to try and get away from and
Yeah.
address.
I think mine comes from
It,
more just I don't want to talk to a doctor because I don't want to talk to people. It's probably
um,
more of a general anxiety about just interacting with people than actually.
I mean, I think it got to the point where for me, where I just felt that something wasn't right and
Yeah.
I needed to do something about it.
I mean,
Um,
I generally, I think in my head, I think I'm all right at the moment, but I did go quite off the rails back in my university days. So have I told you the story before? I probably have on a voice chat. I In my second year of university, I just kind of got kind of all disengaged with it, and I felt very out of place. Didn't really felt like I belonged there, and I basically disappeared from the university for the best part of like I don't know 6 months. I was still there, but I just didn't go to a lecture, and so probably for half a year, I got to the point where I was getting up at about like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, spending pretty much spending it all day in a computer lab until about 10 a.m. and then going to bed. And part of my logic for this, my reasoning for this was, well, if I'm asleep during that time, I'm not going to bump into any of the lecturers, and they're not going to ask me where I've been. It was basically like, oh, let's just pretend this isn't happening. I'm going to hide from this whole situation, which is not the healthiest coping mechanism. In fact,
No, it's not. I think for me, one of the main issues is when I get into a negative headspace. Um, I get into this very negative, and
yeah,
I want somebody to snap at me or argue with me or say the wrong thing so I can explode.
yeah, I get that.
And you know,
Sometimes
if anybody that knows me, that's not me. You know, it's and it was getting to a point where that was really starting to bother me. It's like, you know, I could. It's like I just didn't like that side of me.
no, I know.
Um,
I think that's one of the reasons I kind of stopped drinking. I, I think it's because like they would say, alcohol's a depressant,
yes.
and yeah, I'd always get miserable whenever I drink. It's like this isn't
Um,
fun. I'm just getting
no,
very angry at road signs.
I mean, I don't drink as much as I used to either, but I think it just got as you get older, it can change, priorities change and things. But also just like, you know, you go for a night out, and especially if you're going out to pubs and stuff, you know,
Especially in
it's
Scotland.
pubs are not the cheapest places to go
No,
drinking.
no, no.
You know, and it's like when you're young and you're sort of carefree, you know, you go out, you spend 50 quid on a night out, and you're like, look like spend the next day in bed nursing your hangover.
Yeah,
Um, but then I think, you know, as you get older, you kind of want to get a bit more out of life, and you
yeah.
want, and you know, it's kind of like you've got, you know, and it's not 50 quid, it's 100 quid, you know.
And not only
Um,
that, there's that whole thing of, like you said, you normally get out, go out next day, stay in bed for a bit. If I think the last time I went out and drank, it took me 2 days to recover, and I didn't drink a lot. I just couldn't deal with it.
what I found as I got older, that I was all right the next day. It was the day after.
You know,
It's like, you know, I'd go out on a Friday, I'd come home, I'd be all right on the Saturday, but the Sunday I'd be absolutely like,
see, everything slows down. Your actions slow down that much. It takes a whole day for the hangover to hit you.
but yeah, to
You
kick
know,
in.
yeah,
I think as well, you know, it's just like, oh, you know, you go out, you've spent 100 quid, and it's just like, well, what have I got
yeah,
to show for that 100 quid?
yeah. You could have bought Magic the Gathering cards with that.
You could have bought Magic the Gathering kit. You could have bought a month's blessed VIP.
VIP Patreon, exactly. Money well spent.
You know, that's a better use of 100 quid than
Yeah.
um
I think one thing I really struggle with at the moment is, and I only really learnt it was a thing fairly recently, is imposter syndrome.
I
Especially
know.
in my last sort of important job. I no, my, no, no, my boss was always saying, "Yeah, you're doing great. You're really good." I never felt like I was. I always felt like I was, one step away from being found out that I was absolutely rubbish at everything and that I was a fraud. And I'm sure that wasn't the case, but it felt like that. And after I got made redundant from that job,
I felt like that in a job before, yeah.
yeah, I really struggled with interviews and job applications because because you have to sell yourself. I'm writing stuff and it's like this just all feels like bollocks.
Yeah,
It's for want of a better word,
but yeah,
and for if I was like within a job and I had like a boss or someone who was there to maybe bat for me a little bit, right? It wasn't too bad. But having
yeah,
to do that on your own in the big wide world,
world.
it's just like genuinely, I don't think I have the mental and emotional energy to deal with it. Like the job I've got at the moment, which actually I'm quite happy. I'm quite enjoying it. Um, Technically, I've regressed. I've basically gone back to doing call center work, but just the relief of not having to sort of have the pressure to progress and sell yourself and go on about how good you are. I can't do that. I genuinely don't
Yeah.
feel I can do it. And it's just for the sake of actually, there's jobs I could go after that are more suited to like my existing skill set. But actually, for the difference in pay, I'd rather just carry on doing something that's less stressful and has less pressure.
I mean, that's the other thing as well. It's it's all money doesn't necessarily mean you're happy.
Yeah,
Especially if you've got to jump through hoops and go put
exactly.
an amount of stress on yourself
And I
to
think for
get
that
that
kind
money
of,
in the first place.
I think
And
that
then
kind of landscape is worse than it's ever been as well.
yeah, and then of
Because
course what happens is that you put yourself through so much stress to get that money
yeah,
that when you aren't
you don't
working,
enjoy
you're
it.
that exhausted or in that negative space that you can't enjoy it anyway.
No, exactly.
Um,
It's interesting the imposter syndrome thing. Like I say, I only really learned it was a thing a couple of years ago, but it's like, yeah, that makes sense when I sort of read about it. Um, I don't think the band necessarily suffer from imposter syndrome. Uh,
no,
God love them. But they do have no doubts. I know they do reveal them sometimes in terms of the way they talk about themselves.
yeah,
Uh, because this kind of stuff affects anyone.
and
Part of me says it's good that they're humble because I think if you're humble about stuff, then you keep your expectations measured. You're less likely to disappoint yourself. But I do feel sometimes the way they talk about themselves, they maybe sell themselves a bit short.
yeah, I think they've always they do have a little bit of self doubt
Yeah,
and I mean that can come from the fact that they are so young. They haven't maybe seen things or done things that other people, or maybe they feel
no,
because they haven't,
yeah.
then they're not as, which isn't necessarily the case either.
And at the same
Um,
time, there's nothing wrong with having those kind of doubts. I think to a certain degree, it's healthy.
it's healthy to have, yeah,
It keeps you on your toes. It keeps you trying to get better. With that kind of stuff, it all boils down to how you manage it.
yes, yes. I
As
mean
long as you don't let them
that's,
overtake you.
and I mean that is it, like all disease illnesses, it's not just the weak or the poor that can suffer from it. It's mental health issues, depression, anxiety. It doesn't matter if you're rich,
Yeah.
poor, successful, unsuccessful.
No, it all
You've
affects
got
people.
drive, you've got no drive to succeed, um,
No. Well, when
or,
we
or
initially
progress.
when we initially talked about doing this, it was more in the middle of winter, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we're talking December, January. So it's how long it took us to do it. But certainly in those winter months, yeah, they're always a slog. I know, obviously, in the UK, we have quite limited daylight for a few months, a couple of months there, and yeah,
Yeah, and
it's difficult.
that's the thing. I mean, even the difference between, you know, Edinburgh and London, it's
Yeah,
like, you know, in the winter it gets dark about 3:30, 4 o'clock. You know, it's not getting light till 8 o'clock in the morning.
yeah,
You know, you really notice how short it is. But you know, coming up to this time of year, you know, it gets light, you know, in June, when you get towards mid-June, when you've got the longest day. I mean,
yeah.
up
It's like
here, it's like 3:30. This, you know, you can start to see it getting light about 3:30. By about 4 o'clock, it's fully light.
yeah,
And again, you know,
and it
you're
doesn't go dark till like
talking
10 o'clock at night on the
10 o'clock
Republic.
at night, you know, you can see it getting dark, and it's probably like 10:30 before it's like completely dark. Um,
That's always difficult when you're a kid because you're
yeah.
like, it's not. Why am I being sent to bed? It's clearly not nighttime.
Uh, but definitely, you know, that does take a toll. You know, and that
Yeah.
is sad. Uh,
Well, they always talk about Blue Monday, don't they?
a seasonal adjustment disorder.
Yeah.
Um, of course, and you know, the further north you go, the more extreme it gets. You know, you
Yeah.
have when you get up towards the Arctic Circle, it's like you spend 6 months in darkness and six
Yeah.
months in light.
Yeah. We'll talk like Norway and Finland, towards the top end of those
Yeah,
countries.
yeah, when you get up, and I think it happens in parts of like Alaska and this stuff as well. And maybe the very northern reaches of Canada.
Yeah.
Um, you know, that must be that
That,
will take a lot of getting
yeah,
used to.
especially, I think it's doubly compounded, again, in the context of this year,
Yeah,
with either being out of work or being furloughed. Because, obviously, being furloughed, at least you're still getting paid, but you're still not getting, it still knocks you out of that routine of having a reason to get up and do something. And I think
do
that,
something. Yes, and I mean certainly that first time when I was off, I completely flipped my time. That you
yeah,
know, I was getting up in the afternoon. I was being up all night, and I was going to my bed. You know, I was going to my bed when I normally get up for
only
work.
birds get up.
Yeah, you know, 4 or 5 in the morning, I'm going to my bed.
Yeah, it does mess with you, and it is difficult to get yourself out of that kind of cycle. And once
Like,
you've sort of sunk into it,
and I think
unless
that's
you've got, like, for example, work says, right, come back in, and you're forced
yeah,
to.
and I think as well that's what's difficult for because when it comes to mental health and stuff, that everybody's different, and what works for one
Yeah,
person doesn't necessarily. I mean, I know somebody and they work constant night shift. Um, they find it very difficult to sleep at night. Um, and they started working night shift, partly because if you did night shift, you got paid
you
more.
normally tend to get paid better, don't you? Yeah,
Um, but they found that actually for their body, it worked far better that they could
yeah.
sleep
That's
during the day and work at night, you know.
It's an interesting solution that
Um,
maybe wouldn't all necessarily be automatically apparent that
yeah, but you know,
if that cycle suits you better.
some people that cycle suits them better.
Yeah,
And that's the thing. It's you know, it's not everybody likes medication doesn't work for everybody,
no,
or maybe not chemical medication. Maybe you know, some people find acupuncture
yeah.
or you know, holistic medicine works for them.
I would say
Um,
certainly over the last year, because I dipped out of work a couple of times due to either being furloughed or being made redundant.
being made redundant, yeah.
Yeah, the thing that I found the hardest to deal with was definitely the lack of routine. That was what the killed was, not having a reason to get up. So I always try to sort of force myself to say no, get up, do some,
Do
create
something.
create some
Yeah.
sort of routine
Yes.
to keep yourself sane almost.
I mean, I think in some respects that is a very human thing
Yeah,
that we need some form of structure or
yeah,
routine. Again, it's not something that everybody would agree on. Some people find having a fixed routine very stressful for them. But I mean, I think speaking generally, it is a very human thing that,
I
you
think
know,
so. Yeah,
to have a routine. Uh, Again, it's kind of a
even
human thing as well that we
yeah,
have a routine, but we complain about it. But when we don't have that routine,
yeah, yeah,
we
free
we
floating.
just we don't know what to do.
Well, even in that even in that respect, even little things like Danny Power and Alley Day every week, that actually helped
Yes,
to stop the days blurring into one.
into one,
It's like
yeah,
here's some things that are going to happen,
happen.
and I guess some of the stuff we've done on the Discord server as well. Things
Yeah,
like the events, like the album versus album stuff.
problem stuff.
It all
Yeah,
just anything like that.
anything just to try
Just
and
break it up and
break it up and give people something to do.
yeah, no, definitely.
And I mean, I suppose the main thing is that it's all right to not be all right.
Yeah,
Um, but just to look after yourself and try and find a way that works for you to get through it.
and I think as well because it does help to talk about stuff like that. Sometimes not even actually to have a conversation,
Station.
just to be able to have somewhere to put it. I know. Obviously, in the Discord server, we've got the
Yeah,
safe
we've
space
got safe space
where
for that
people,
very reason that if somebody is not feeling
yeah,
all right and they don't necessarily want to talk directly to somebody,
no,
um,
yeah. Sometimes if they just sort of say, "Look, I need to say what's going on,"
on.
and it's just sometimes the act of typing it out and putting
Oh
it out
yeah,
there
and putting
helps
it
deal
out
with the
there.
problem, helps make it a bit
Uh,
more manageable.
yes, it's like a what was the old saying? A problem shared is a problem halved.
Yeah,
And, sometimes it is just that relief that you've said it
yeah.
out in the open. Maybe
And
not.
or even to have literally just typed it out and to have it there to be
Well,
able to read through it.
yeah.
It stops it being this big sort of nebulous mess in your
So
head,
in
and
your
it's like,
head,
okay, here's what it is. I've
I,
defined what my problem is.
and I think that's something as well that I find when my anxiety goes through the roof and gets spirals out of control. It's quite a weird sensation. It's because you want to you want to say something, but
It's
you can't
uh,
get the words out because there's that much
yeah,
going on and swirling in your head, and you've got all these thoughts, and but actually just being able to lock onto it
yeah.
and vocalize it, it's
It helps untangle the mess sometimes.
it can be extremely difficult. And
I always uh, I always equate that feeling, to that bit in Jaws where Brody sat on the beach and they do the dolly zoom where he
yes,
realizes what's it, and it's like, yeah, that's that feeling.
yeah,
I I Anxiety's a funny one for me because it's definitely there, but it tends to manifest itself in very specific circumstances. Normally, when people are involved, I think the worst it's ever
yes,
got for me was at a wedding, and someone very nicely invited me to the wedding, but didn't really know anyone there except the person getting married. And the problem with that is they're genuinely quite busy, at a
Yes,
wedding.
at a
they've
wedding, yeah.
they've got stuff to do, which I absolutely. But I didn't know anyone there, and I just I'm not great at introducing myself to strangers,
I'm
and I
not
just got
either.
so nervous about. I was probably there for 20 minutes. I was like, I can't deal with this. I just left. Did the
Yeah.
Irish goodbye. But it wasn't all
Yeah.
the bus because I did have to go past a Burger King on the way home, so I got myself a Whopper. So silver lining.
So it wasn't ended all right.
No, exactly. But it was
Um,
literally, it was like, it got to, it was like, I cannot deal with the situation. I
yeah,
cannot be here. I need to get out. And I just felt, literally physically felt it rising.
that was always my problem in school as well, was that I I knew my subjects, but I couldn't deal with the pressure of an exam. It's like I
Yeah.
would forget things, and it's like my history teacher used to get really frustrated because we had one of our mock exams, and I absolutely bombed it. And afterwards, we were sitting in the classroom, and he was asking me the questions, and the answers were coming out. I knew the
Yeah.
answers.
But just being sat in that
uh,
room with
in
that
that
clock up
room.
there
Yeah,
in silence,
um,
it just makes it seem so much bigger.
bigger. And I mean, that's why nowadays they do a combination of exams and there's assessments out the year to get somebody's grade because,
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've not been in the school system for a long time, but I understand, like you said, it's got a lot better in terms of
I
that,
mean,
and also,
I was, when I was in my when I got to my third year, that's when they started the transition of changing O grades as we had up here, the O levels, into
standards.
standards, which was a combination of assessment based
Yeah,
work over the year and exams. Um,
I think now as well that they're better at making accommodations
Chins.
for things like anxiety. I think in
Uh,
extreme circumstances you can not take an exam and just go or do it privately and stuff like that, which is great.
But yeah, again, there's certain conditions and disorders where you can't be in a hall full of other people to do an exam in silence that you need.
No, exactly.
Um,
It just makes it seem like such a much bigger deal than it needs to be, perhaps.
Needs to be, yeah. Um, but I think certainly there's still a long way to go with awareness of lots of things.
Yeah,
Especially when it comes to mental disabilities, illness. I, it's that's the thing, that just because somebody looks normal, looks okay, doesn't mean they are. You never know what's going on.
no, exactly.
If somebody has a broken leg, you can see they've got a broken leg. If somebody's in a wheelchair, you
Well, this really does hinge on the big thing with mental health is that, especially like with things like depression,
yeah,
you'll often hear, "Oh, just cheer up," or "Have you tried not being depressed?"
yeah, or just
But like,
smile.
if yeah, it can't be that bad. But if someone's got a broken leg, no one ever says, "Well, have you tried it just not being broken?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Have you tried not having a broken leg?" Well, no,
Have
it's
you tried
broken.
not? Yeah, I mean that's the thing. You wouldn't say that to somebody with a broken
No,
leg, but yeah, unfortunately, hidden disabilities, um, conditions, it's a lot harder. And I think that's something else.
yeah,
As a human being, you just need
keep it.
to
Yeah,
try and
just
stop and
yeah,
think, well, maybe this person maybe it's like, oh, are you thick or something?
Mhm.
It's
But
like, you know, that's not, stop and think. It's like, well, maybe they have difficulty in picking things up.
yeah, but I say
Um,
certainly for me over the last strange year, um, say yeah, the warning and the warning army, I guess, have been a big part in just helping me stay sane and
it's been a big part in helping me stay sane as well.
yeah,
It's
whether that's through listening to the music, to the activities that the band have done, like the fan interactions, and just through just general stuff uh, in the community.
that's it. Just talking to people in the
Yeah,
community,
little
um,
projects like the fan covers,
the fan
things to do.
covers, following them.
Starting a podcast because I didn't have anything else to do.
It's it.
But
Actually, that's something that. Um, I mean, I'm not the world's greatest talker, but it has been really good.
yeah, there was a because
Being able to join you on the podcasts.
we've all
It's
had this big. Everyone's had gaps to fill in their life where there's other stuff we'd normally do that we couldn't do.
ooh, yeah. And
I mean,
it's been really nice. Of course, it's talking about something that I enjoy as well, which
yeah.
makes it easier to talk about.
Well, even just the anticipation of the album, of
Album.
having something to look forward to, is like, well, that's coming soon, and that's been a help. It's all added up.
And I think as well, it's been like, we had cooking with Pow and stuff as
Yes.
well, and things like that. It's just like, obviously,
And
Pow's a
yeah.
musician. She's not
Oh,
a,
I know she is from that cake. Bless her.
yeah, bless her. But just things like that. I mean, it's again something that's maybe slightly more unique with the Warning compared to other
Yeah.
bands. Is how when was the last time you saw Cooking with Metallica?
No, God no.
Or you
I'd
know
like I'd like to think it works both ways as well.
shooting
In the,
at the shooting range with
no,
Guns N' Roses.
yeah, but
It
yeah,
doesn't
I'd like to think
happen.
it does work both ways. In that, obviously, it's been a great help to us as fans to have something to look forward to have all this activity going on. But I'd like to think that the interaction and feedback that's come back has also helped them in terms of things like dealing with the disappointment of having to cancel the tour
Cancel
and
the
stuff like
tour,
that.
and I mean that's the thing as well that it affects them as well.
Yeah,
It's this they were hyped that they were going to get this third album done. They were going to do the first American tour, which for anybody is like a major achievement in your
yeah.
career. For it all to get nah, it's not happening.
But again, and we've said it before though. They seem to have done a great job of just taking the situation and making the best of it.
Making the best of it, yeah.
You know,
And
don't dwell on what's gone because you can't change that. What's in front of you? What can you deal with? How can you make the best of it?
how can you make the best of it? And they've made the best of it
Yeah,
by, well, actually, if we can't play, then let's make
mm.
ourselves better than
Yeah.
we were.
And again, just from a general sort of well-being point of view, not not a bad sort of bit of advice to follow
Yeah.
because it is very easy to get, especially in the current climate, to get stressed out about stuff that you literally have no control over.
Have no control about. And
Uh,
that's it. And it's also it's very easy to get very lazy.
yes,
And, and I think it is important that you try and keep some sort of structure, some sort of routine.
yeah, that would be my one takeaway is trying, and then that also comes from having a been out of work in the past, and also probably looking back at that whole university day back.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind
Yeah.
of had a routine, but it was proper messed up.
It was proper
It
wrestling.
wasn't. It wasn't healthy.
And the thing is, it doesn't even have to be a humongously
No.
outrageous thing you need to do. It's just like, dust a room each day.
Yeah.
Or,
Some.
just,
I think what a friend of mine once told me his father gave him some advice along those lines. Is, if you're feeling, down or depressed and you're feeling struggling, polish your shoes,
yeah.
because it's something small, but it's something that you can sort of affect, and it's
Effect.
something you can. It's a little task you can accomplish,
You can
and
accomplish it, and then you can sit there afterwards and go, wow, look how shiny my shoes are.
exactly, and it's only small, but it's like you know you can stack little victories on top of each other. I know one thing that I often do if I'm feeling fed up or if I feel like I need to sort myself out is I'll have a shave.
Yeah.
I actually had one day because I want to look less homeless for the podcast. But there's been times when I've been fed up. It's like, you know what, go and have a shave.
Yeah, I've do that as well this time. So it's like,
I've never seen any evidence of this.
oh,
a
I do have a shave. I mean,
little bit of a trip.
it's not too bad.
No, but yeah,
But
that's
it's like I get the trimmer out and just like
yeah. But
let's
I think in
and it
I
does.
get that.
It just gives. I just feel it gives me a little. It's like there, that's better. Look, I've
Yeah, I think that's very probably very specifically around more sort of depression and that lack of motivation. But
yeah,
just doing something,
something.
and it doesn't have to be a big thing. But being just getting in the habit of just saying and understand, recognizing when you've done something. Say, like, I've achieved a task there. I've completed something. That's
And
progress. I did something.
and especially in this uncertain time where you might have a lot of time on your hands that you weren't expecting because
No,
you've been made redundant, you're furloughed, you can't go to college, whatever.
that is one
Just
thing. This
that.
that's one thing that the whole pandemic did teach me. Like all those times that I've said to myself, look, I just need a week to myself, and I can do a blitz of the flat and get it all tidied up. That clearly wasn't what the problem was. Time was not the issue.
But yeah, yeah. I mean, there is. It is very true. But then I found that I have actually been able to go and blitz things and
Yeah.
do things and
Sometimes someone just goes off, and you just get yourself in that mindset, and
yeah.
you need to run with it
Um,
and take advantage of it before it goes away.
yes. But yeah, it's just try and keep your mind active. That's really,
Yeah, it's
I
easy.
guess that's what it really comes down to is, I think that's well, it's not just physical, uh, awareness or alertness. It's mental alertness
Yeah,
as well, because that's the other thing. Yes, you've got a routine. You're getting up and you're physically doing things, walking to the bus stop, walking to your work or whatever.
yeah,
But then you've got the mental side to that as well. That you're giving your brain a workout.
yeah.
Um,
That would be my
and
big takeaway as well. Just try and then I from first hand experience, I know it's difficult, but try to, like you say, stay active physically and mentally to a certain degree, and also you know don't try not to shut yourself out. Again, it's very easy. It's very easily done to try to sort of withdraw, especially when you're given so many opportunities to do it
yes,
when everywhere's shut and you're not allowed to go and meet people.
I
I
mean
think
that's
that's
why you know, as you know, I play Magic the Gathering, and uh, that's why my friends and I came up with this idea of um, getting our webcam set up so it comes
yeah,
over, and it's not the same. We know it's not the same, but it's
You
getting
can,
something as close
yeah,
to normality.
exactly.
It's
It gives
something that
you,
we would do once a week, so let's carry on doing it. Yeah,
yeah,
we can't
you're forced to be a bit creative, but
if
we're lucky to live in an age where we've got the tools available to connect with each other remotely.
I mean,
I dread to think what this
I was going to say, could you
COVID business would have been
imagine
like 20 years ago.
if when we were kids, Mark,
Yeah,
you know, you're
grim.
lucky if you didn't have mobile phones. You had your man dad's house phone.
Yeah,
Um,
I bet you can still remember the number.
I know what my parents' house number is.
I
Yeah.
still I can still remember my first phone number. I think everyone can.
Um,
Because you had to remember it in case you got kidnapped and the police came, so you could tell them to phone your parents.
um, but that was the thing. There was no email. There was no
No.
instant messengers. Um, your computer game came on a tape deck.
Yes. So,
I had a Commodore 64.
but yeah. So I think that as
But
difficult as it's been, I think we were probably in the best possible state place to deal with it compared
deal
to
with it,
previous
yes.
generations. And I think it's important to recognize that. And yeah, it's been rubbish, but it could have been a lot worse. And at least we have got things we can do to mitigate it a bit. And
Yes.
it's important to be aware of that and make use of them. Whether that's, like you say, Zoom calls or, Discord servers,
Yeah,
or just like, being able to,
Twitch,
YouTube.
YouTube, whatever.
There's lots of ways to keep that interaction going and stop
Yeah,
yourself
there
from
is.
becoming too isolated.
Yeah, because then it's extremely difficult to get back out of that hole.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know if, as I always say, if anyone's in the server and has an issue, DM me.
Yeah. Thanks for anyone who's here. So thanks for bearing with us on going a little bit off topic in terms of the band, but I think it's an important conversation to have.
It's an important conversation to have.
And just to reiterate where we were before, if anyone is out there is feeling a bit, struggling a little bit, or feeling a bit detached, feel free to join the server. The link's down below. Have a chat if because the invite's always there. One thing I've found really interesting about this server in particular is it's really interesting to have that really sort of quite an interesting spread of ages.
Yes, there is
We've got old farts in there, like Derek.
Yes. And
I'll
Mark.
just completely gloss over the fact that we're pretty much exactly the same age. But we've got a lot of younger members on there as well.
And members that are older than us.
True. Not many, but there's a few. But I think in that dynamic, that's interesting to be able to.
Yes.
Because especially I don't know, I'm probably the worst person in the world to give any advice on things. But I think it probably helps a lot of the younger members on the server to be able to talk to adults who aren't their parents.
Aren't their parents, exactly. Yes, yes.
Because again, I'm sure you can probably agree with me on this, that sometimes there's stuff that your parents or your family, they're the last people you want to talk to about it.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
But at the same time, there are situations where maybe a more adult perspective can really help you make sense.
Can help you make some decisions or give you some clarity or reassurance of what you're feeling. I think that's one thing with anything, especially in the younger generation, is that they feel like they are the only one. And of course, when
Yeah,
you get
I
a
think
chance to talk to and learn that they're not the only one, that there's other
yeah,
people out there feeling the same things as they're feeling.
yeah, and I think everybody goes through
That
that
in,
phase.
that in itself is can be a massive weight off the shoulder.
And again, that brings me back round to When I'm Alone,
Yes,
and the lyrics there.
and the
It
lyrics.
exactly encompasses that feeling.
It does.
But yeah, so I think we'll leave it short and sweet as far as close goes. But yeah, if you are, feel free to join the server if you maybe just want to have a chat, just want to meet new people, and obviously gush about the warning because that's primarily what goes on there.
That's primarily what goes on.
Yeah, but there's
But
and
yeah,
obviously
please.
there's the band's own Discord, but that's linked to Patreon. So but again,
Yeah,
you'll find it very welcoming there if you do join Patreon. If you're a Patreon and you haven't joined the Discord server, get involved,
get involved.
see what's going on. But yeah, as always, thank you for bearing with us. Like I say, it's been a bit different, and I think maybe the next one with Mikey as well. Again, we'll maybe carry on with this just to box it off, and hopefully that will carry us quite nicely to having a single or an album.
Hopefully, yes. We can be back with some news.
Yes, because we're all champing at the bit for it. But feel free join the Discord, join the band Discord,
Come join us.
jump on Twitch, follow the
Say
band on
hello.
Twitch. Yeah, so the band's Twitch streams are really entertaining. That can be a new way to
A new way
interact.
to interact. Yes, definitely.
If you're not following them, get involved there as well because again, sometimes they drop little nuggets of information as well in the chat.
And that's it. It's not just games they play. I mean, how they do the just had a chill and a chat.
Yeah, and even if the gameplay aside, they're just generally very entertaining.
Entertaining, yes, and they're just chatting away and just don't have your earphone volumes up too loud when
No, especially not. But thanks for bearing with us. Thanks for getting to the end of it. Whoever's got to the end of this,
if you're still with us,
yeah. Say if you've got any story to share about mental health struggles or coping methods, even better. Feel free to drop them in the comments, or again, drop in the Discord and have a chat. And we will see you on the next one. Say goodbye, Derek.
Bye, Derek.
Bye, Derek.